Welcome back, folks. This is Tommy, Help with Gadgets, and we've got a very interesting knife to do a disassembly and cleaning of here today. For full disclosure, I have had this one apart several times just to get a better idea of the best way to do this and to do the review so that it didn't look like I was totally clueless. Um, I did start. I did start. I did record it the first time, but that didn't go so well. So this is take two on the recording. This knife is on loan from Mr. Eddy. I do appreciate him very much allowing me to disassemble, clean, and review this knife. You will notice me being very careful about this knife because I actually picked this up for Mr. Eddy at CanCon, the Tactical Blade Show at CanCon here last week. So Mr. Eddy has not actually even held this knife. And he's allowing me to take it apart. So I really appreciate that. And what I have determined is it's easier to try to get this pivot to come out. Again, you will see me being very careful with it because I do not want to damage this knife. Go ahead and drop that. This is beautiful Damascus collars on the knife. By the way, the pivot screw is a T15. The body screws are T8s. And again, I apologize. I'm concentrating on not messing up this knife. It is not it's not an inexpensive knife, at least in my opinion. So being very careful with it. I don't know that I even said what knife this was. This is the Hypercut Cretin. This is a very early model of the Hypercut Cretin. Hypercut's a knife maker out of Hendersonville, North Carolina. And what you see me doing now is trying to move to pull these scales apart. And you'll see why here in just a minute. It's a company out of Hendersonville, North Carolina. Very cool, young guy. And he has a couple of other models. In fact, I'll show you here. This is another model that he makes. This is the Biku, and another very interesting, very cool knife that we'll do a disassembly on as well, hopefully. So, and what is occurring here is there's a pin that it's the stop pin, and it goes from here to the other side, and it's a little different than what I'm used to dealing with, but it's just going to take a little coercing Now just imagine me doing this for the first time with no knowledge of what was going on here. Alright, so have it apart. These are very cool, very small multi-row bearings. There. And then the other thing that you'll notice is the very cool lightning pockets that that he's designed into this to reduce the weight. Let's go ahead and get that blade off. And you can see here that very cool here. And then let's look at the information here. Hypercut Manufacturing, Cretin, USA, 2024. Serial number is 0002. So very cool, and I can actually show you. The gentleman makes the packaging for this. I think he 3D prints this, and then the information is on the COA there on the front, and you can pause and take a look at that if you so desire. But so this pin here is what's holding everything together. They're under this under these Damascus collars, and the end of that pin fits into the milled out area that you can see right there. So a little bit different than what I'm accustomed to, but a very interesting design nonetheless. Alright, so it's got zirconium thumb studs, which are really neat. See if you can see the design there on the thumb studs. It's got so the pivot colors are black Damascus, and the the back spacer is titanium, so it's black and titanium, so very cool. And then of course the liner on this side is black and titanium as well. And of course the clip here, black and titanium. So all in all, very cool. That liner is actually held in by not only this pin that's running through it, but these two screws here at the back. So very cool. All right, let's just wipe this down a little bit. I haven't done a whole lot to it since I had it apart earlier. So there's not a whole lot to clean up. Just make sure things are spiffy here on this side and here on this side, and make sure the blade is wiped down. I love the blade shape on this. If you know me, that's one of my favorite blade shapes. So I would love to be able to get one of these one day, but they're quite pricey. But that being said, there's a lot of very good material. The blade still is S45N. All of those parts are titanium. There's work involved in the milling process, in the darkening the titanium, all the different things, the Damascus collars, very tight tolerances there, as you could tell with the way the pin was holding the sides together. So all in all, very cool. Alright, just cleaning all that alcohol off, and then we'll do an assembly here in just a moment. The assembly is a little fun, trying to get those collars lined up, but I have practiced a little bit. We'll see if my practice has gained us anything. All right, let's see here. I want to wipe this out here and let that dry. While that's drying, I'm going to go to this side. All right, this is a free spinning pivot, so it doesn't matter which side that I start with. What does matter is that I get the correct collar in place and that I get it to drop down there, and I don't think this is the right collar. Let's try the other one. Once it pops in place, it should follow the contour of the scales there. Come on now. I think talking nicely to it might help a little bit. And so there we go. All right, we'll drop this in. Okay, we're going to flip that over. We are going to put one of the bearings on. We're going to put a little bit of gunny glide on. I usually like to put a little dab on each side of the pivot. We'll fit this blade on, and we'll push the lock bar down to allow us to push the blade completely on. This is a free-floating back spacer, so we just have to get everything lined up. And it should press together. There we go. Okay. Well, I forgot something, so we've got to unpress it. It's quite helpful when you do put the bearings in, because otherwise it's not going to run real well. Got ahead of myself, got excited about getting it back together without too much drama, and in the process left out the bearings, as you can see sitting right there. So what I want to try to do is gently try to pull it apart. In fact, I may have to go ahead and go pull that pivot out. And that'll just be a demonstration of how tight these tolerances are. Actually, maybe pulling more on this side this time. So both of these are very tight. I mean, it is not easy to disassemble. I don't know if I can slide that in or not. What we're basically trying to do is to encourage this pin to let go. And what I'm using is a plastic sponger to just wiggle and get that to release. There we go. All right, let's try that again. Of course. Now the other side pulled out, so that's okay. I think I'll need that other backspacer. So this is again, even though I've had this apart a couple of times, this is not the easiest knife to disassemble. I do imagine with a little few more times doing it, it would probably be a little bit easier. Let's see if I can get this to rotate into place. Maybe easier without that pivot to get it. The pivot is very polished. It's hard to get any kind of traction on it to get it to turn. There we go. Alright, so I got it to drop in. I'm going to put that pivot in to hold it. And set that down to hold that. We're going to drop a couple of drops of what I'm doing is making sure that that pin is seated against that bottom of the pivot collar. Alright, let's get this in place. I'm going to wipe off that blade a little bit from where the extra oil had run. And I do want to put a dab of oil on that detent ball. Alright, pieces in place. Okay, what I want to do is get this pushed. There we go. That's snapped into place. I'm going to get this indexed to the proper way, and somehow it appears that when I dropped it in, it went into place, which is just very fortuitous. Alright. Little bit of a detour there. I'm going to put a dab of Loctite on there. And we're going to tighten that down just to hold it in place, and remembering that the backspacer is free floating, you'll want to get those in place and kind of move it to the where the screws line up. These are titanium screws, so I'm not tightening them very hard. I don't want them to strip out. I'm sure Dylan would be, his customer service would be great if that did happen, but I do not want that to happen. Alright, let's take a look at it. Open it up. Check for blade play. I do have a little bit, so I'm going to tighten that up. I'm actually going to get this one, since they're free spinning. I'm going to hold that, and I'm actually going to need the T15 in there. Again, being very careful. All right. Okay, let's check it again. We have a little bit of play. I don't want to over tighten it, but I do want it to be tight. Yeah, looking good. All right, so there you have it. Disassembly and cleaning of the Hypercut Cretin. And I'll still need to do a little bit of wipe down on it because I've got fingerprints on that beautiful hollow ground satin blade. And hopefully we'll have a review of either this one or another one that I have access to for the review portion of it. But again, this is the Hypercut Cretin. Hope you've enjoyed the review, even me stumbling and tripping a little bit on certain parts of it. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.